I'm Reece along the way to one of the most beautiful and spectacular landscapes in the world, the Fjords of Norway. Norway has more than 1,000 fjords, the deep and steep inlets towering 1,000 feet above the Atlantic coast, formed by glaciers over the centuries, continually sculpted by waterfalls snaking in and out of Norway's fjords. Some of the fjords are side fjords off larger fjords. Geiranger Fjord, with seven sisters dancing playfully 1,300 feet down the cliff, is the most visited and a designated World Heritage Site. Directly across the fjord, the suitor tries to woo the sisters. At the head of the fjord, the tiny tourist town of Geiranger, population 250, hosts some 400,000 tourists each year. From the town, a 1.5-mile trail heads straight up a narrow canyon to a hidden waterfall. Getting there is half the fun and a bit of work, but the route is smoothed by people that really know their way around high mountains. Sherpas from Mount Everest in Nepal. For 10 years, hardy Sherpas have laid these large flat stepping stones to make our climb a bit easier. Our destination is Storseterfossen, squirting out on the mountainside, dropping 100 feet to the canyon below. The trail with chain hand-aids drops down behind the falls, a unique experience to be actually tucked inside a Norway fjord.
It was hard going up, harder going down to the falls. A little bit scary, but it was wonderful, and it's scenery I haven't seen before.
Huge bonfires celebrating the summer solstice light Geiranger Harbor, an ancient pagan tradition believed to increase fertility of the land and scare away witches. A more modest flame lights the fjord in the tourist town of Flåm. Every year, 500,000 tourists come to this tiny community with its 350-year-old all-wood church. Most come to ride the rails, one of the steepest standard gauge railroads in the world. The Flåm train climbs more than 2,800 feet in 12.5 miles. The views are unsurpassed. High valleys with towering waterfalls, a Norway must-do. Flåm Railway is the third most visited tourist site in the country. 135 miles from the ocean, Flåm sits at the head of Sognefjord, Norway's longest and at a maximum 4,300 feet, the deepest fjord.
That trail is steep and rough.
Can't say they didn't warn us about this challenging trail that climbs straight up the head of the fjord. It's not long, and there are handrails, chains, even staircases to negotiate the rocky, root-infested route. At the top, a spectacular reward, Monofossen, a 300-foot-high waterfall dropping unbroken into the Manana River. Near the southwestern tip of Norway, the once tiny fishing village of Haugesund is booming. But instead of herring, it's harvesting gas and oil, most of which is exported. Protected from the ocean's wrath by the Karmsund Strait, Haugesund has been an important shipping center since Viking days. A surprising sight along the waterfront, a statue of Marilyn Monroe. Her grandfather was apparently born in this area and ultimately moved his family to America. The National Monument of Norway celebrates the unification of the tribes in 872 under Harald Fairhair, Norway's first king. The 29 columns surrounding the main pillar represent the separate colonies which came together to form Norway. From 1941 to 1945, Norway suffered under Nazi occupation, which is remembered in the extensive detail at the Arquebus War History Museum in Haugesund. 2,000 square feet of exhibits, with 125 authentically dressed mannequins detailing military and civilian life, resistance, and liberation. An American Sherman tank, used by all the Allies, greets visitors at the entrance. A fitting climax to our visit to this magnificent land.
It's just surprised me how green it could be up this far north, how many people were just living their lives, and how beautiful the fishing villages were.
Reece with Marianne along the way in a Norway fjord.